Hello, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started with today's class session, which is Go Further with Microsoft Excel, Tables, Formatting, and Collaboration. Now, before we dive into our materials, there's just a couple of things that I do want to highlight, okay? So we are in a Microsoft Teams meetings, and there's a couple of icons that I definitely want to go over real quick. If you need to send a chat message, as if you have a question, I do have a moderator here that is going to assist me. If you need to send a chat message, you want to hit this little bubble icon right here. You want to go ahead and type your message, and then you want to hit this little paper airplane. Let's say, for an example, you want to turn on your live captions, okay? You want to hit the three ellipses, these three little dots right here. You're going to go over to turn on live captions. Now, I would love to introduce myself. My name is Wynetta, and I will be your trainer today to present the information. I am joined by my lovely colleague, Kat. She's my moderator, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to go ahead and type it down below. She will be able to respond back to you. So let's talk about our agenda for today. So we are going to create spreadsheets using tables. We're going to analyze your data using conditional formatting and data validation. We're going to collaborate and share your work with others. And we're also going to use accessibility options inside of Excel. Now, Excel's, it learns your patterns, right? It's going to organize your data so that way it can help you to save your time. You're going to be easily to create tables in your spreadsheets and use modern functions. Now, with new charts and graphs, Excel helps you to present your data in a compelling way. You're going to easily be able to create forecasts to predict trends with just a click. Now, you should have received an email with a workbook attached. At this time, what I am going to do, I am going to pause my screen. So it may go black, but no worries, I am still here. I am just bringing up my demo tenant, okay? While I bring that up, please go ahead and bring up your workbook if you would like to follow along in this presentation.
Hi, I did not receive an email with a workbook.
No worries. Kat, if you can go ahead and drop the link. If you guys did not receive it, just make sure you just type it in the Q&A and Kat will answer, but she'll go ahead and drop that link down below. So that way you'll be able to follow along in the workbook. And Kat, I just want to verify, can you see my screen?
I can. I also just want to let people know when they click on the link that I posted, the workbook that they're looking for is the Go Further with Microsoft Excel, tables formatting and collaboration. It's that third square in the top row. But yeah, everything looks good.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that, Kat. All right, class, we're going to go ahead and get started. So we have this huge piece of data right here. And what we want to do is we want to insert a table. We want to have a table that's going to cover this entire block, okay? I want to show you something real quick. Let's say, for an example, we insert a column inside of this data, okay? So let's just say, for an example, I go to C, I'm going to right click, I'm going to insert, and you see this column that I inserted. I'm going to go up top to the ribbon. I'm going to hit on insert and I'm going to do table. Notice how it only covers a certain amount of data. As you can see, I had my cell click here. You see this green box? This is where I clicked on. And as you can see, it's only going to cover up this data. It did not cover the entire table. So you want to make sure before you click on insert a column that you don't have an empty column, because as you can see, it's not going to cover the entire thing, right? So I'm going to hit cancel. I'm going to go back to this column here that I created, and I'm going to remove it. So now what we're going to do, we're going to insert this table that's going to cover this entire block is what I like to call it. So you're going to go ahead, make sure you in your insert section, you see your tab up here. You want to go to insert and then you're going to see table. You want to click on it. Notice how Excel's recognized that I do have a header. That is why this is checked. If you look up top, here are my headers, okay? Since this is correct, and I do have headers, I want to keep that box checked. So I'm going to hit OK. Once I hit OK, you will see now we have a table. If you look back up top to your ribbon, right next to help, you're going to see table design. Do you see how now I have the option of table design? However, if I click away, as you can see, the table design option goes away as well. If you look at the bottom of your table, you're going to see like little right angle is what I call it. Do you see this little icon right here? This little right angle? Well, basically, that's going to let you know where your table ended, okay? I want to go back in my table design. So I'm going to click back inside of my table so my options do come back. If I look over here to my table styles, if I click on this drop down box,
Wynetta, can you hear me? It appears that you're frozen. Give me a second, y'all. Okay, it looks like we have dropped Wynetta. Give me just a second to make sure I can check in with her. And then we'll move on. So sorry about the technical difficulties, but we will get right back on track in just a minute. Okay, good. I'm glad it looks like people can hear again. Let me just see where Wynetta has gone. Okay. It appears that I'm not able to get in touch with Wynetta, so let's go ahead and we'll pivot. If y'all give me just a second to get my Excel pulled up. And then I will also walk y'all through downloading that workbook really quickly. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but thank you all so much for your patience. One thing that you can do for us while you're waiting for me to just grab the file that I need is can you go to the chat and just let me know like how comfortable you feel with creating tables in Excel, and we will go from there. We got some comfortables. Perfect. Okay. Okay on creating tables. Awesome. Okay. All right, y'all. Okay. So really quickly, when you click on that link that I posted in the chat, you're gonna see like this group of boxes. And if you choose this one right here, the Go Further with Microsoft Tables, and click on it, you're going to see the option to download the content right there. And that's going to download the workbook that we're going to be working in for the next hour. So yeah, that's where you go to download it. I can post that in the chat one more time if people need it. But if you scroll up in the chat, you should see it. Yeah, I'll go ahead and just repost it now. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. It looks like, RJ, you've downloaded the wrong one. So we're looking for this one right here, the Go Further with Microsoft Excel Tables Formatting and Collaboration Workbook. All right, let's go ahead and hop back into that Excel sheet that we were working on. I'm going to zoom in just a bit since I'm using a pretty big monitor today. And can someone just confirm? You can just say yes in the chat. You can see my screen all right. All right. And I don't know if y'all missed this when Wynetta was going over the demo, but I'm Kat. I was her moderator. It looks like she was having some internet issues, so we'll just step in for her. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and convert this back into a table. Now, Wynetta showed us how to do this. We're going to really quickly walk through it one more time. I'm going to create a table by selecting any cell in my data set, and this is after I've taken a look at it. And I've decided, you know what, yes, all of my data relates to itself in some way. It is concurrent, right? It makes sense that this data is connected. And then I'm actually just going to go right up here to the style section in the home tab, and I'm going to look for format as a table. This is going to allow me to pick from a wide variety of formats. I like this blue one right here with the banded rows. So I'm going to click on that. And then I have that box that pops up asking me where's my data, which I can see it selected all of it. So that's perfect. I don't have to go in and select it myself. And does my table have headers? And what it's asking for is a row up at the top that tells me and Excel what is in the columns directly beneath that particular cell. And yes, I do have headers, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure that is selected, because if it wasn't, Excel would add another row up here with headers that I would then have to go in and edit, and I would have to get rid of this row somehow, and we don't want to do that. So we're going to click OK, and now my table has been created. All right. If I click into it, you'll notice that up at the top, at the very end of all the tabs, I now have an additional tab that says Table Design. And this is going to allow me to make some changes to my table. Some of them are aesthetic, some of them are for data purposes. So let's just go through these, right? I can go back to table styles and I can actually change how this looks depending on, you know, what I need my data to look like. Yeah, we'll change it to that one. Why not? Right. And then over here, I can actually give my table a name. So I'm going to call this one product. We'll call it product 1, actually. Oh, not exclamation point. And what this does is it tells Excel what this big chunk of data actually is. So that way, when I get into the more complicated formulas that we don't necessarily touch in this training, I'm able to type in the name of the product, I'm able to type in the name of the product, the name of the table, and I don't need to know the name of the cells, right? I don't need to know, oh, this is from A2 to G18. I can just type in product 1 and it knows that I refer to that group of cells. Looks like Wynetta is actually going to be able to hop back in. Wynetta, are you in here with us?
Yes, I am so sorry about that. My internet just went kaput.
No, it's okay. Do you want to go
So,
ahead and take over again?
yes, I do. I'm pulling up my
Perfect.
screen now. Sorry about that, you guys, and thank you guys so much for being patient. Let's see. Can you see my screen?
Yes, and it's in
Okay.
the exact area that we were in as well. So perfect.
Okay. And you can hear me clear and everything.
Everything sounds good.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So let's continue. So, as she was telling you, you can go over here, you can name your table, right? And I know that she was telling you about the table design as far as how you can choose, basically, how do you want your table to look? You can format it any way that you want to. One thing that I want to bring to your attention, if you take a look over in our tools section, okay, you will see remove duplicates. So let's say for an example, in this case here, I see that I have a duplicate, right? I see I have 2 Chicago's. If I go ahead and click on remove duplicates, notice how it highlight the entire data. And here I have all of my columns checked. Now, if you don't want to check a certain column like location, as you can see here, you can go through and uncheck it, but I want everything to check because I wanted to check this entire data for any duplicates. And if there's a duplicate, I need for it to remove it, right? So I'm going to go here to OK. And notice how it removed. It says one duplicate value was found and was removed. So notice how I had 2 Chicago's here, but now as you can see, I have only 1. Okay. Now, when it comes to your headers, yes, we know that we can go ahead between these 2 here. And if we want to make it a little bit bigger, we could drag that down to, bring it up a little bit bigger. If I want to change the data, like let's say for an example, I may not want my banded rows, okay? I'm gonna show you where you can go ahead and really format how you want to look at your data. We are still in our table design, okay? Go to the option that says table style options. Notice how I have my header, I have my banded, and I have my filter highlighted, right? After this session, please come back and play along with here for your first, last, and banded column rows if you want to play around with that. But let me show you what happens if I remove my header. If I remove it, notice how my filter button goes away. If I remove my banded rows, as you can see, this is how the data look. So these are just ways as far as how you can customize how you want your table to look. So I'm going to bring it back and bring back the banded. I'm going to bring back my header, and notice how I bring back my header. My filter is automatically brought back as well too. Now, let's say for an example, I want to add a total row. We're still inside of our table style options. Do you see total row right here in the middle? We're going to click on it. Notice how it brings my total down here at the bottom. You see the total row is added. If I click on it, you will notice a drop-down box populate. And if I click on it, it's going to bring up different functions, right? I can click on to choose as far as if I want minimum, maximum, average, and etc. I can even go to more functions as well too, but we're going to leave it to sum, okay? I want to show you what will happen if I copy this sum and let's say I paste it here. Notice how it did not change the formula. The reason why is because we are doing a table map, okay? So I'm going to go in, I want to delete it. I'm going to go to the drop down box here and I'm going to click on sum and notice how it adds the sum here. Now, while it's highlighted, I am going to go over here to this green little box and I'll wait till it turns to like a black plus, and I'm going to drag it over so that way it can calculate the sum for these cells here. Now, let's just say for an example, we're going to take a look up here. So I see that I have doodad, gadget, and gizmo. I'm going to go over here to H2, and I want to get the total of these three numbers here. I'm going to show you how to do that. First, you want to go ahead and start off with equal. Then you want to go ahead and click on the cell. So you see how I clicked on it and it came up with doodad. We're then going to add a plus. Gadget plus gizmo. I'm going to hit enter. And notice how it brought up the sum for this column here. I can even click on this empty box here. And if I want to bring the sum here, I can even click on sum so it can add everything up. Now, not only can I do it at the end, but I can also do it in the middle as well too. So we added doodad, gadget, and gizmo, right? I want to add business revenue as well as with consumer revenue. So the first thing I need to do is I want to insert a column here. So I'm going to highlight E, right click, and then I'm going to go to insert, right? So notice how I have a column here. So now remember how we got the formula here? We did the equal sign, we did doodad, gadget, and gizmo. We added these three numbers here. It's the same thing what we're going to do for business revenue as well as consumer. So we're going to do equal sign, and we're going to click on business, and we're going to do plus. Okay, you're going to hit the shift plus to get your plus. Consumer, hit enter, and do you see how it's calculating everything for you? Once again, I can come down here at the bottom if I want the sum. I can do the sum as well. I can even go in and change the headings, right? The name of the heading. So notice how this says column 2. Let's just say I may want this to be units. I may want to enable this as units. And over here on column 1, I may want to change this to sales, right? Let's say for an example, you see the headings right here. Well, let's say that I want to make my headings and bring it more to the top. To do that, you want to click on your heading and drag and highlight your entire heading, okay? Make sure, as you can see, we're still in our home tab, but you want to go to your alignment section, which is right here in the middle. You're going to go to the top. Do you see where it says top align? You want to click on it. And now, as you can see here, your headings have moved to the top. Now, in this section here, went ahead and I showed you how to go ahead and create a table, how you can go in and to change a table. We even went ahead and showed you as far as how you can add a total row and how you can use that function as well. I also went ahead and showed you as far as how you can move your headings from down below to the top. So at this point, I am going to pause to take a sip of water. And Kat, are there any questions at this time?
Hey, Wynetta, no questions about Excel at the moment.
Perfect. All right. So now what we're going to talk about next is conditional formatting. Let's go ahead, hit our next section. Do you see where it says Cond Core? Click there, and this is where we're going to work next. So to find conditional formatting, you want to make sure that you are still, excuse me, in your home tab. And do you see conditional formatting right here? This is what we're going to be using, okay? So let's take a look at this data. So I have some data here, and I have some as far as I want to measure from above, as well as color scales. I even have a medium, as well as a maximum, average, and etc. So I have all of my data here. Now, in the first one, what I want to do is I want to see everyone that's above my median. Now remember, the median is going to be the exact middle number of the 50% mark of all of my numbers. I want to be able to see people who are in the top half of my performers. So in order to do that, you want to go ahead, go to the column that says above the median. You're going to click and you want to highlight the entire data in that column. Okay. Once you have done that, you're going to go over to conditional formatting. You're going to click on it. What we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to click on the rules. The rules we want to click on is highlight sales rules. Do you see that? It's going to be your top one. Then we're going to click on, do you see where it says greater than? Once we've done that, this box will populate and you want to click on greater than the median. So the median we see is 38. So you see right here, 38, we want to click on that box. Once we click on it, do you see the dollar sign that populated right here? Basically, this basically means that where I use this formula, it will always use cell 18. That's basically all that it means. Next to the right, I have a drop-down box. Now, how do I want to color code this? You have different options here, but what I'm going to use, because keep in mind, I want to see who above average. I want to do the green field with dark green text, but you do have other options that you can choose here. So I'm going to click there, and then I'm going to hit OK. Once I hit OK, notice how it went ahead and highlight and showcase me everyone who's above the median. Now, let's take a look at above average. Okay, so we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to click, we're going to highlight the information, right? We're going to cover everything in that chart. We're then going to go into conditioning formatting, okay? But this time I want to do top bottom rules, which is the second one underneath highlight. You're going to click on top bottom rules. And then I want to choose above average, okay? Now, you do have different options, but I don't want to use red, right? Because these are the people that's above my average. Well, I've already used green and I don't want to use yellow. But if I move my mouse down, do you see custom format? We're going to click there. Here, I can really customize it, right? So if I want to change my fonts, if I want to make it bold, even if I want to change my color, I could change it to any of these colors here, or if I want to go to more colors down here, down below, let's just say I may want to choose a purple color. So I may want to choose this color here. Now I'm going to hit OK. Let's say I may want to add a feel to it, right? I may want to add this golden color as a feel. I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to hit OK again. And as you can see here, now this chart is definitely standing out to showcase me who is above the average. Now, let's take a look at color scales, okay? Now, when it comes to color scales, I want to see how everyone is doing. Not only do I want to know who's doing well, but I also want to know who may need a little bit of assistance to get their numbers up, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the data. So I'm going to click, drag it down. And where are we going to go to? Yes, conditioning formatting, okay? I'm going to click there, but this time I'm going to go to color scales. So as you can see here, you have all of these different options here. And as you can see down below, once you hover over it, it kind of gives you like a little brief synopsis as far as what it will look like, right? When it comes to color scales, this basically help you so that way you can have your top color, one color, and another color for your lowest, okay? I typically stay away from using this top row just for accessibility purpose when I know that I'm going to share the data out. Individuals I notice that has like green or color issues, they're going to have a hard time really seeing it. So I like to use this red-white color scale. So let me show you what that will look like. Once I click on it, notice how everyone who is above, I will see it in dark blue. Everyone who's not performing well, I will see it in dark red. And everyone that's in between, I will see it either in a light red or a light blue color. Now, in this conditioning format section, what we did, we went ahead and we showed you as far as how you can choose to have your metrics above the medium, above average color scales. I also explained to you as far as when it comes to color scales, why I typically stay away from the top row, but feel free to use it if that's not an issue for your audience or anything. But I did also show you another option that you can use, which is the red, white, blue scale, which basically would be a little bit easier for anyone that have any accessibility concerns, okay? Now we're going to go into validation. But before I go into validation, I'm going to pause so I can take a sip of water. And Kat, are there any questions about conditioning formatting at this time before we move forward in the next section?
Hey, Juanetta, no questions just yet, but please remember that I am here to answer them if you have any questions while Juanetta's talking.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, everyone, let's go to our next sheet. We're going to click on valid one, okay? Now, I'm just going to give you an understanding as far as what to expect when we go into valid two. So let's talk about data validation, okay? When it comes to data validation, this is where you're going to place restrictions on the data or values that you're going to enter into your cell. When you look for data validation in the data tools section, this is the icon here. This is your icon for data validation. You're going to have three options, okay? Either data validation, circle and valid data. This is where the data is going to be circled for anything that does not meet the requirement. You will also have an option to clear the validation circles as well too. Once you're inside of data validation, you will probably start off in your settings, okay? You will have an option right here as far as allow, and these are what you can choose from the different options. We're definitely going to play around with whole and list numbers in our next section, but this is where it will be sitting in inside of sections. Once you have clicked on settings, you will see that you also have an option of various data between minimum and maximum. Once you have input your information here, you're going to go into input message. This is where you'll be able to type a message for your data. You can even put a title as well too. When you move along to your error alert, you're going to have three options. Either stop, which is going to prevent the user from entering the data, a warning, which gives them three options, or information, okay? And the same thing, you will have your title. You can type your error message as well too. So I want to just showcase you here in this section just to give you an idea as far as what you will see once we start playing around with our data validation. So now we're going to click on valid two because now we're going to go inside and put all of this together, okay? So here's some examples right here. The first one, it says accept only whole numbers greater than 0, okay? That is what we want to go ahead and we want to put in. So the first thing I want to do, I'm gonna go to data, okay? Do you remember this little icon right here that I showed you in this section before? Here's your data validation. So you want to go ahead and you want to click on it. We are now inside of our settings. Remember this, some of this should kind of seem kind of familiar, right? So in the settings tabs, we want to click on the drop-down box for here that has allow value in it. Click on the drop-down box. You will have all these different options here. Since we're choosing a whole number greater than 0, we want to choose a whole number. Go down to data. We're going to do greater than minimum. We want to do 0. Okay. We're going to go to the next tab, input message. So I'm just going to type a message in here. And let's see, should I say? I'm going to type in number. must be greater than 0. Okay. And then I'm going to go to my error alert. Here, I'm going to choose stop. I'm going to keep it as stop, okay? I'm going to type in my error message here. I'm going to type in the same thing. Please enter a number greater than 0, okay? Like that there. And for my heading, let's just say I'm going to put this as error for my heading, okay? So I went ahead and put all of my information that I want from this data here. I'm going to hit OK. Notice how it says number must be greater than 0. So let's see if I enter number 3, hit enter. Okay, it took it. But let me show you what happens if I type in 0. There it goes. Remember the heading that we use, error, and I have a little message right here. Please enter a number greater than 0. So either retry, cancel, or help, right? So I'm going to cancel it. And as you can see, it went back to 3 because that's the number that I typed in first, right? So as you can see, that message is going to pop up because I did not have it when I typed in 0. It has to be greater than 0 in order for the data validation to go through. Now, let's take a look at dates. You can also do data validation when it comes to dates. And you may be wondering, why do I want to track a date? Well, let's just say, for an example, I track all the trainings that we do, and each one of them has a date. And when you're tracking things, think about the beginning of January. You still may be making some entries from the end of December. So I'm going to start entering the dates that are going into the next year. But we do want to be careful. We don't want it to be outside of the current year. So in this example right here, it has 2021. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to use that example for 2021. So the first thing I'm going to do, we're going to go back to data validation, okay? I have my little box here. This is where I want to put the data validation. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go back to settings, okay? Now what I want to do is I am going to click on the drop down box. And this time I'm going to choose date. And then I'm going to choose the data. I'm going to choose greater than or equal to. And I'm going to put a start date here. Let's do 1/1, let's say 2022. Okay. I am going to put this here. So once again, I have date greater than or equal to, and I have my start date 1/1/2022. I'm going to go into input message, okay? For my title, let's just say I may want to type in entry date, okay? And then for the message, enter a date in the current year. Let's go to my error alert. So what type of error alert do I want to have, right? So this one, I'm going to choose warning. I'm going to put the title. I'm going to choose the same one that I typed before. Let's see, entry date. And then for this message, I'm going to put date. Let's see, it's not in the current year. Is this correct? So I've everything put in. So I'm going to click OK. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to type in the date 1/1/2022 and notice how it went through. But if I type in 1/1/2021, I have this error message that popped up. Now, I can choose as far as if I want to accept this, even though it's popping up as an error. Do I want to accept it? Do I not? Do I want to cancel it? Or do I want to go to help? Well, in this instance, I'm going to hit yes. And as you can see, even though it popped up as an error, it went ahead and took it based off the data validation that I typed in prior. Now let's talk about a list, okay? Like a yes or no list. To do that, we're going to go back to where we've been going, to data validation. Okay, we're going to go back to our settings. This time, I'm going to click on list. And you see this source, okay? So for the source, what I am going to do, I'm going to click on it and I'm going to type in yes, space, comma, then a space, and then no. So once again, I typed in yes, comma, space, and no. Okay? What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go to input message, right? And let's just say a conference room. I want to know if we need to have a conference room. So I'm going to type in here, conference room. Inside of this message here, I may want to put in here, is a room required, right? So I'm about to do a training. I need to know if a room is required. In the error alert, okay, I am going to have it as stop, okay? I'm going to name this title. Let's just say conference room. And I'm going to have the error message, yes or no. Then I'm going to hit OK. Now, notice how it has this little question room. Is a room required? I can come here to the drop down. I can choose yes. I can choose no. I can even type the answer in. As you can see, I can type it, right? Let me show you what happens if I type in no. Notice how when I typed it in, this error message populate. Why? Well, the reason why is because the data that it's looking for is looking for yes or no, but keep in mind, I capitalized the yes and the no. Notice how this no starts off with a lowercase, so it is not recognizing that. So I need to either go in, if I want no, I need to make sure since I entered in as no in my formatting, that it be capitalized as well too for it to take it. Now, let's talk about lists. You can even do data validation when it comes to a list, okay? Now, we did the list as far as the yes or no, but what if we want to enter in this list down here below? I'm going to show you how you can go in and do that. We're going to use this peripheral list down here, okay? So to do that, we're going to go to data validation, okay? We're going to go inside of our settings. We're going to click on this drop-down box and we're going to go to list. We're going to click on source. So that way you see this little line inside of source. You want to click on it because what you're going to do next, you're going to go over here to printer and you're going to highlight printer, whiteboard, and wall monitor. And as you can see, it is bringing the data over in this source section. We're going to go to input message. For the title, we're going to name this as peripherals. Okay. And for the message, let's just say, please select an item. Okay. We're going to go to era. And then for the error, we want to choose information, right? We're going to have the title name the same. Let's just keep it the same, peripherals. Uh-oh, spelled that totally wrong. Okay. And for the message, you did not choose from this list. Is this intentional? Okay, so that's my error message. You did not choose from this list. Is this intentional? I'm going to choose OK. So now I notice here when I come here, I can have these options here that I can choose from. And notice how it did not correct it. Do you see how board is all caps? So I want to showcase this to you that it's not going to auto correct anything. So you want to make sure that when you're inputting a list that you have everything set correctly, because as you can see, it's going to copy it exactly the way that you have it, okay? So I have these different options right here, but let's just say I'm like, oh, okay, on the list, instead of the printer, whiteboard, and wall monitor, let's just say I may need a TV, right? I hit enter after I typed in TV and it says you did not choose from this list. Is this intentional? I'm going to choose okay. Yes, it was intentional. But notice this here. When I go back to the drop down box, notice how TV is not here. Why is that? Well, the reason why, do you remember how when we first started our data validation, we highlighted printer, whiteboard, and wall monitor from A11 to A13? Well, it needs to be listed here on A14 so that way the option will populate. So for an example, if we go back to data validation, well, hold on. Before we do that, let me go here. I'm going to type in TV on A14. I'm going to click back on this data validation cell that we was working on. Click on data validation. I'm going to go back to settings. So this time, when I click on the source, I want to highlight A11 to A14. I'm going to hit OK. Hold on. Let me do that again. Go here. Go to source. Let me clear this out. All right. Go to printer, all the way down to TV. And then I'm going to hit OK. And now this time when I go to this drop down box, you see how now TV is listed in one of the options here. So that's how you have to enter as far as if you want to enter another option. Now let's talk about validation circles, okay? When it comes to validation circles, this is basically going to highlight any data that you've entered in that does not meet the validation. So for an example, down here, down below, you will see here, if you click on any of the cells here, these are entered between 1 and 100, okay? What I want to do is I want to take this information here, this data, and I want to copy and paste it and bring it over into my green section. To do that, what you want to do, you want to click, copy the information. You're going to right click. You're going to hit copy, okay? We're then going to go into the next cell. We're going to right click. Now we're not going to hit the regular paste. Okay, we're not going to do that. We're going to hit the value one, which is the one right here. Do you see the value that has the clipboard with the 1, 2, 3, the second one? That is what we're going to choose. So we're going to click on it. And as you can see, it brought my data over. Okay. Now what I can do while this is highlighted, I want to import my circles. I want to see if I have anything in here that is invalid. Do you see this drop down arrow here for data validation? We're going to click on it and we're going to go to circle invalid. And do you see how it is going to go ahead and circle every error setting that was set, even if it had a warning or informational to it? It does not matter what you did to override it. If it's not set to meet the data validation, it is going to be circled. So, for an example, this one right here, it says enter a value between 1 and 100. Well, 200 is a little bit bigger, right? So let's go ahead and change that to 100. Do you see how the data validation circle went away? Let's go ahead to the next one. This one shows as -1. So let's just say I choose a random number of 7, right? That went away. I can even go back to my data validation section. I'm going to click on the drop down box. I can click on clear validation circles if I want to go ahead and I want to clear them out. I'm going to show you real quick. Remember, I told you we're not going to use the first page. I'm going to show you why. So let's go ahead. We're going to copy this again. We're going to copy all of this here. We're going to right click. We're going to go to copy. But this time, when we go to this section over here, when we paste, we're just going to do the regular paste so that way you can see why we do not want to do that. As you can see here, when I do a regular paste, my data validation did not be brought over. Number one, I have no green shading. Number two, if I go back here to this drop down arrow and I click on circle invalid, notice how it's not circling any of my items that are invalid because I erased it by just doing a regular paste. So that's why you want to click on the clipboard with the paste that has the 1, 2, 3 to bring all of the data over. Now, in this section right here, we did go ahead and talk about data validations. I showed you how you can go in and choose the different options for your warnings, typing in your message. I even showed you how to go ahead and copy and paste to bring your data over. I'm going to take a sip of water. And before we go to share, hey, Kat, are there any questions in the chat?
Hey, we actually had someone ask if you could show us how to do number 3 again, the drop-down lists. Now, I did put a resource in the chat that you can save for later, but I know that watching someone walk you through it is super helpful. So if you could just show us that that one more time, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely. Which one he wants to see, the yes, no option?
Yes.
Okay, 1 second. Let me get a sip of water. And yes, I'll be able to show you that. All right, so let's go back to number 3. We're going to go back to our data validation.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-oh, did somebody say something?
What you got going on?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Okay.
Okay. Kat, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay. All right, so let's go back to number 3, right here, the yes, no, okay? You want to click on the data validation. It's going to bring you in this section right here. In your settings, okay, you want to choose on list. If you click on the drop-down box, you're going to go to list. Now, in your source, what I did is I did yes, and I had a capital Y, yes, comma, put a comma there, then put a space, hit enter, and then type in no capitalized. Okay? For my message. Okay? Because keep in mind, in this example here, I talked about as far as I'm putting in a conference room. I want to know, is a conference room required, right? So for the title, it'll be conference room. And I type in a message, is a room required? Then for my error alert, I chose the one for stop. For my title, I did conference room. And for the error message, yes or no. So that way, if they type in anything else, it's not going to work. So if I type in baby, notice how it typed in this message here, yes or no. That is the only options that I do have, right? So I can go down and hit cancel. I can choose yes, I can choose no. And remember, like I explained to you, when you're typing the answer, notice how I'm doing a capital Y, then ES, and yes, it will take it. However, if I want to do no, if I do lowercase, this message will pop up. The reason why is because my no is capitalized. It is only recognizing the data that I put in. So since I had a capital end there, that is what it's looking for. So I'm gonna hit cancel. If I want to type in no, I have to make sure I capitalize it. And as you can see, it takes it. Good question. All right, so if there's no other questions, let's talk about our share, okay? Now, here is where you can share, you can collaborate. Like this is where you can really bring in other colleagues if you want to work on a project together, okay? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start. Let's go to review. You will notice here that you have a comment and you have notes, okay? So basically how I like to tell the difference between the two, notes is for information where you want it to live on your worksheet for everybody to see. So we're going to go in this example, product, right? We're going to highlight product. Now, let's say I want to type a note here and let's see where my notes, here it is, my notes, and I'm gonna go to new note, okay? Notice how it populate here, showcase my name, and I may want to say use for, I don't know, product name. If I want to remove my name, you do have the option to where you can go ahead, highlight if you want to remove your name, okay? And once I click off of it, do you see that little mark right there? And if I hover over it, do you see this little note that I left? Now, let's just say, for an example, I have Kat in here. Let's just say we're going to pretend Kat is in here and we are collaborating, right? I may want Kat to work on a particular cell inside of this worksheet. So I'm going to show you how that will look. So I'm going to go in this cell right here. And I may want to leave, instead of a note, I want to leave a comment. And what I can do at, oh, hold on. First thing you want to do, make sure that you have it saved, right? Because when you have it saved inside of your organization, this is where you can mention anyone in your organization. So I'm going to save this real quick. I'm going to go to File, Save As, Save. Yes. All right. Perfect. Now I have it auto-save. You see my auto-save function is on. So now when I go to new comment, do you see now it has this little, it says at mention or comment. I am going to add, now let's just say I want to find Kat. There she goes. There go Kat. So I want to message Kat, please calculate. And then I'm going to hit this paper airplane here. So I have the at mention, I have the message for her. I'm going to send it to her. Notice here, it says that she doesn't have access, so I need to grant her access. Perfectly fine. Now, what's going to happen on Kat end, she's going to get an email, and it's going to have an email letting her know that I did tag her, and then I also left her a message, right? So this is really good because if you're working in a workbook and you're having multiple people in here and you want to leave like different comments so that way they know what they need to do or what they need to work on, that is how you go about doing it, okay? Now, if you have multiple people inside working, do you see this option right here under changes? You're going to see show changes. When you click here, it will show you the changes as far as what everyone was working on. So as you can see here, mine is empty now because it's just me inside of this worksheet here. But if I had Kat in here or if I had Carmelo or any of my colleagues and they was working around inside of this workbook, when you click on show changes, it will show you the cell that they changed and what it was changed to. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to exit out of there. Take a look up here to your share. You can also share this out as well too, and you can control how you are sharing it, okay? So I'm going to click on share. As you can see here, this is Kat. I did go ahead and I shared this with Kat. But let's just say I may want to share this with another one of my colleagues. I may want to share this with Carmelo, right? I have these options right here. Well, what can Carmelo do? Can he edit? Can he view, right? Do you see this option right here above? Let's click on it. Anyone with this link can. Now, typically, this is usually grayed out inside the organization because this basically means anybody, whether they're outside of your organization, a friend or whoever, they will have access to the link. So typically, IT professionals, they usually gray this out so that way everybody cannot have access to the link. But I just want to explain to you what that link is. People inside of excuse me, this is for people that's inside of this demo example right here, people with existing access, or I can do specific people. Notice here, I can click on where it says can edit and can make views. If I want to leave this option on where they can make edits, great. If I click on they can only view it, I do have this option here. Do you see I have the option to turn on or turn off block download if I want to prevent them from downloading it, okay? Once you have chose your settings, you then go ahead and hit apply. You can type in a message right here. And once again, once you hit send, Carmelo will then go ahead and get an Outlook email as far as the message that I sent him for this sheet here. So that is the function when it comes to share. Last thing I want to show you is accessibility. And I'm very passionate about this because I want to make sure that everyone will be able to view my document correctly. Now, I know there's a couple of ways that you can view your accessibility, okay? One way is that if you right-click down here at the bottom of the bar, you will see accessibility checker. As you can see, mine is turned on, but if it's turned off, all you gotta do is just click on it, right, to turn it on there. You can even go to under your review tab, you can click on check accessibility there, or you can even go to your file, okay? Go to info, and do you see where it says check for issues? This drop down box right here, you can click on check accessibility there. So those are the 3 ways that you'll be able to go ahead and to access check accessibility. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to check our accessibility here, okay? So I'm just going to just click on accessibility and notice how I have these errors and these warnings. So I love this because it definitely tells you as far as what you need to change and where you need to change it at. The first one is a graphic, right? It's missing a description, okay? I can either go here, I can add a description, or I can come to the picture, right click, and it's view alt text is what you want to click on, and you'll be able to add your description here. So let's just say I may want to type this in and let everyone know that this is a clown-ish, right? Once I go ahead and type it, notice how that error message went away. If I take a look here, it's telling me A2 through A4 is having some accessibilities as well as A1. Well, I agree, right? Because as you can see, it's very hard to read that. So what I can do is I can highlight A1 through A4. I can come to the font color and I can choose on black. And now it's easy to read. I see that I do have some hashtags. All I have to do with the hashtags is we know I can just widen that just a little bit so that way I can see all of my data. Now, in the last sections here, we did go ahead, we talk about accessibilities. I also showed you as far as how you can share the difference between notes and comments. Now, I know we're at time, but I had to go over that information just because I did have like a little bit of internet issue, but I thank you guys for hanging in there with me. And Kat, before I wrap up, are there any other questions at this time? All right. Well, I am going to assume that there are no more questions. So I thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. And hopefully you have learned a lot of great tools, techniques as well too. Now, we do have some more advanced Excel trainings. I definitely suggest that you reach out to your point of contact if you would like to take some more Excel trainings. We can definitely get you signed up for that, as well as any other applications of Microsoft that we do service, like if you want to learn Outlook, Teams, and etc. If nothing else, I would love for you guys to have an amazing, amazing day, okay? And I look forward to teaching you again in the future. Thank you, RJ. And also give Kat do they get a survey? Do they get a survey or no? Oh, okay. I'm going to assume they don't. So if nothing else, y'all have a great day. And hopefully you guys learned everything and practice. Please go back inside of this workbook and practice, practice, practice. If you need for me to train this again for you, feel free to go ahead and reach out to your point of contact and let them know that. Until then, bye everyone.